And if you disagree with this sentiment, just hit the unfollow button.
Disney was warned. For years, the whispers grew louder, cautioning that their live-action remake of Snow White was marching towards an abysmal failure. They ignored every sign, making seemingly every wrong decision possible, culminating in a predictable box office bomb. Theaters sat empty across the globe, ticket sales cratered at 50% below projections, and audience scores plummeted, earning a dismal 1.6 out of 10 on IMDb and a rotten 20% on Rotten Tomatoes. The jarring CGI dwarves became instant nightmare fuel, and ironically, the very little people actors replaced by animation filed a class action lawsuit. It said Walt Disney himself is turning in his grave. He personally requested the company never change, alter, or remake his original masterpiece. Yet they did, casting Rachel Zegler, who seemed determined to reshape the entire film in a politically charged image. Zegler publicly labeled the original Prince Charming a stalker, insisting Snow White didn't yearn for love, but instead dreamed of being a leader.
The prince.
She's not going to be saved by the prince. She's not going to be dreaming about true love. She's dreaming about becoming the leader she knows she can be.
She even demanded higher pay for the arduous task of, quote, standing in a dress for 18 hours.
If I'm going to stand there 18 hours in a dress of an iconic Disney princess, I deserve to be paid for every hour.
The controversy swirling around her grew so intense that Disney was forced to hire personal security for her, the co-star Gal Gadot, due to countless death threats. This movie became an absolute dumpster fire, and Zegler's reaction to its failure seemed to confirm everyone's darkest suspicions about her. But the story of how this potential blockbuster became a cautionary tale started even before the Snow White casting. In 2018, a friend alerted Rachel Zegler to an open casting call for Steven Spielberg's West Side Story adaptation. The 16-year-old submitted an audition tape showcasing a promising talent honed through childhood plays and an impressive singing voice.
Bernardo and Anita argue all morning about a fight that's gonna happen tonight?
Out of 30,000 hopefuls, Zegler, with no professional experience, agent, or Hollywood connections, landed the lead role of Maria. Her performance earned critical acclaim and a Golden Globe. Yet, this meteoric rise immediately sparked industry plant accusations. Some found it hard to believe a complete unknown could get that lucky hand selected by Spielberg himself. In an era flooded with Nepo babies, perhaps a random girl from New Jersey landing an A-list role was refreshing, but her inability to filter her opinions soon created massive headaches for Disney executives. Her next role, Snow White, should have cemented her stardom. Instead, it became the catalyst for chaos. Zegler announced her Snow White casting on Twitter with a statement she quickly deleted. Yes, I am Snow White. No, I am not bleaching my skin for the role. She preemptively addressed criticism about her casting. The original film describes Snow White with skin as white as snow. It's literally in her name. Zegler, of Colombian descent, has a different complexion. While some reactions were extreme or racist, many were simply confused why Disney was changing such a core visual element, continuing a trend seen with the Little Mermaid remake starring Halle Bailey. Defenders argued mermaids aren't real and have no race, and that film ultimately turned a profit despite similar pandering accusations. Zegler tried to justify her casting by referencing an obscure alternative version where Snow White survived a snowstorm as a baby, named for resilience, not skin color. This small detail foreshadowed the much larger, more controversial changes to come. The more Zegler spoke, the clearer the impending disaster became, especially in a now infamous Variety interview. Asked about bringing a modern edge, Zegler declared, "She's not going to be saved by the prince. She's dreaming about becoming the leader she knows she can be."
She's dreaming about becoming the leader she knows she can be.
The idea of Snow White as an aspiring leader, rather than dreaming of true love, baffled many. Why not create a new story instead of fundamentally altering a classic? Zegler doubled down, mocking the original. There is a big focus on her love story with a guy who literally stalks her. Weird.
With a guy who literally stalks her. Weird.
So we didn't do that this time. Her sarcastic tone and labeling the prince a stalker felt deeply disrespectful to Walt Disney's first ever full-length animated feature. People already wary of endless remakes were pushed away by her lack of class. Then came the conflicting statements. claiming she was scared of the original cartoon, having watched it only once.
I was scared of the original cartoon. Like, I'm being so serious. I watched it once.
Contrasted with press tour photos of her as a child in a Snow White dress, claiming it was always her dream. This flip-flopping combined with a comment about taking her role in Shazam, Fury of the Gods, because I needed a job.
Needed a job. I'm being so serious.
Painted a picture of someone unappreciative and perhaps unprofessional, even if she later expressed gratitude. Another firestorm erupted over Snow White's 7 companions. Actor Peter Dinklage criticized Disney for proudly casting a Latina actress while still telling the backward story about 7 dwarves living in a cave.
Taken aback by they're very proud to cast a Latino actress as Snow White.
Yeah.
Progressive in one way, but you're still making that backward story of 7 dwarves living in a cave.
He questioned the progressiveness of the remake. Disney, scrambling to avoid reinforcing stereotypes, announced they consulted with the dwarfism community and would change the dwarves into a diverse group of magical creatures. Then came the leaked set photos, images resembling poorly dressed medieval fair reenactors, sparking widespread ridicule. Disney denied they were official, but few believed them. The final solution was perhaps the most bizarre. Instead of casting little people actors, Disney opted for creepy, uncanny CGI dwarves, providing enough nightmare fuel for years. The significance of the dwarves was drastically reduced, with only Grumpy and Dopey getting meaningful screen time. Ironically, the attempt to be inclusive resulted in outrage from the dwarfism community, culminating in Little People, actors planning a class action lawsuit against Disney. The chaos wasn't just external. Reports suggested tension was building between the film's leading ladies. Fans noticed awkward body language in interviews, Gal Gadot remaining professional while Zegler spoke, but Zegler avoiding eye contact, looking down or away when Gadot spoke. These suspicions seemed confirmed after the official trailer dropped. Zegler thanked fans for the massive views, but used the moment to make a political statement, and always remember Free Palestine. This was widely interpreted as a direct jab at Gadot, who is Israeli, served in the IDF, and had been vocally supporting Israeli hostages after the 7th of October Hamas attack. Almost immediately, Gadot faced a terrifying wave of death threats, forcing Disney to hire a personal security detail for her. The situation escalated to the point where a Disney producer, Mark Platt, reportedly flew cross-country for a crisis talk with Zegler, reminding her of the millions of dollars and thousands of jobs at stake, urging her to post more carefully. Disney even allegedly began vetting her social media posts. Zegler's political outspokenness wasn't limited to that incident. She posted urging people to vote for Kamala Harris, stating, "It's actually non-negotiable," and adding, "If you disagree, just hit the unfollow button."
If you disagree with the sentiment, just hit the unfollow button. I don't need your business.
Even more inflammatory was a post following Donald Trump's election. May Trump supporters and Trump voters, and Trump himself, never know peace. This sent the media, particularly conservative outlets, into a frenzy. They questioned how Disney could allow their star to condemn half the country, especially after firing actress Gina Carano for far less controversial statements.
Oh, Disney, you're going to have to redo your film again because this woman is a pig and you fired Gina Carano for far less than this nonsense.
It seems Zegler had finally crossed a line Disney couldn't ignore. Reports surfaced that she was made to apologize or redact comments and began working with a Disney-paid social media guru to prevent further damage before the film's release. But the damage was irrevocably done. With a mountain of controversy, negative press, and alienated potential viewers, Snow White finally hit theaters on the 21st of March, 2025. Any hope that the negative publicity might paradoxically boost ticket sales evaporated instantly. The film suffered a catastrophic opening weekend, pulling in a mere $87.3 million globally against a staggering production budget estimated between $250 million and $300 million after reshoots and marketing. That represents a whopping 70% loss, cementing its place as one of Disney's biggest box office bombs in history. While The Little Mermaid also stumbled initially with a similar budget and opening, positive reviews eventually helped it recover to over $560 million worldwide. Snow White, however, faced near universal agreement from those who actually watched it that it simply wasn't good, combined with a significant boycott movement. There would be no second wind. This was a certified disaster. In the face of this undeniable failure, Rachel Zegler's response left many completely stunned. She posted a statement comparing herself to the winged victory statue in the Louvre.
The winged victory came to the Louvre in pieces, and people still line up to see her. And I can only hope that despite my flaws, and despite my cracks and my breaks, and there are many of them, that at every premiere, people will wait in line to see.
This was widely perceived as narcissistic and delusional. People who suspected she was trying to make the film all about her felt vindicated. The statement seemed utterly disconnected from reality. People were not lining up. Her controversies actively drove them away. To be fair, Zegler's performance itself was decent. She's a talented singer. But many factors beyond her acting contributed to the film's failure. The bland, soulless feel common in Disney remakes, cheap-looking CGI, dull color palettes, and a non-threatening evil queen. It felt like a corporate cash grab that failed to capture any magic. Yet, Zegler's actions and comments consistently overshadowed any discussion of the film's artistic merits or flaws. Ultimately, the Snow White debacle serves as a potent lesson written in hundreds of millions of dollars of red ink. It was a perfect storm of ignored warnings, a divisive star whose actions repeatedly harmed the project, politically motivated changes that backfired spectacularly, bizarre creative choices like the CGI dwarves, and a fundamental disrespect for the source material. The internet outrage wasn't fake. When audiences warned Disney they wouldn't pay to see a film led by an insufferable star or watch a classic butchered for political points, they meant it. Perhaps the greatest irony lies with Walt Disney himself. He was fiercely protective of Snow White, his first triumph, rejecting sequels and insisting the original masterpiece remain untouched. Decades later, the company he built ignored his wishes, chasing trends and courting controversy, only to create one of its most embarrassing and costly failures. Has Disney finally learned its lesson? Or are more beloved classics destined to be sacrificed on the altar of modern remakes, only to meet a similar, predictable fate?